lot of people saw the finale of the amazing digital circus, but not everyone stopped to really look at what was happening during the credits. And that is where the actual epilogue of the series is hiding. Artist Zeurel published the credit scenes without any text overlay on Bluesky, which makes it a lot easier to go through them frame by frame. And what they show is something worth talking about properly, because these are not random images filling space while the names scroll past. These are the last official look at what life in the digital circus became after the story ended. The first thing that hits you when you look at these scenes as a whole is how different the circus feels. For 9 episodes, this place was defined by pressure, by the constant cycle of adventures nobody asked for, by the psychological weight of being trapped somewhere you could not escape. The credits show something completely different because now the characters are not enduring the circus, they are living in it, and there is a real distinction between those two things. The new areas they have built out show a group of people who are shaping their own space for the first time. They went back to the beach, swimming together freely, while Caine and Caine sat by the water fishing together and pulled up the fish that was introduced in an exclusive scene from the theatrical version of the film. That image alone, Caine fishing alongside Caine, rather than orchestrating some elaborate adventure for everyone, says a lot about how the dynamic between them shifted by the end. Back in the kitchen, Pomni and Ragada struggled their way through cooking, while Caine turned out to be the most capable person in the room. And Caine made a cookie shaped like Bubbles' face, which is a small detail that lands differently depending on how you feel about everything that happened with Bubble by the end of the episode. The fish they caught earlier also ended up on the menu, which somehow feels very on brand for this group. There is also a scene where everyone explores a cave full of crystals that turns out to be haunted by ghosts, which is exactly the kind of adventure that would have felt mandatory and exhausting a few episodes ago, but now reads as genuinely fun because it was something they chose to do. And then there is the rock band scene, where the female characters play together, and something about seeing them perform just for the sake of performing, rather than as part of some Caine-designed scenario, captures the shift in tone better than almost anything else in the credits. They are doing it because they want to. That is the whole point. Beyond the activities, there are smaller details in these scenes that the community has been picking apart, and a few of them are particularly worth mentioning. In the hallway of the circus, the paintings on the walls no longer have Caine's unsettling eyes staring out of them, and the whole corridor has lost that uncomfortable energy it always carried when he was in control of everything. It is a quiet visual change that communicates something important about what the circus became once it stopped being his. Then there is the Christmas scene, where the entire group celebrates together with the moon present, everyone wearing sweaters with their own initials on them, and Caine dressed as Santa Claus, which is one of those images that would have felt impossible to imagine back in the pilot, and that is exactly why it works so well as part of the epilogue. And there is the moment where Ragata walks past Zubul's door and notices small hearts floating around it, reacting with embarrassment when she realizes what that means, because the door right next to it, Gangle's door, is open. The show spent a long time hinting at this relationship, and the credit scenes are about as clear a confirmation as you can get without spelling it out directly. But the detail that the community has talked about the most, and the one that feels the most intentional as a final image, is what Caine does at the end. He recovers the blue AI, the one that was absorbed into him at the very beginning of his existence, and that played such a significant role in everything that happened. And he places it inside a locked box, which he keeps in his office. It is one of the last things we see him do, and the question it leaves open is one that is hard to shake. Why did he keep it? Is he protecting it? Is it still active inside that box? And does that mean there is something unfinished sitting locked away in the middle of a circus that everyone now thinks is finally at peace? What the credits are showing, taken all together, is not just a happy ending for these characters, though it is that too. They are showing a group of digital copies who spent years trapped in a cycle they did not choose, now building a life on their own terms in the only world they have. They are not the original humans. Those people are still out there at that bus stop, but they are real in every way that matters to them, and they are finally free to figure out what that means without someone else deciding it for them. Which credit scene was your favorite? Did you catch a detail that was not in this video? And what do you think Caine is planning to do with that locked box? Drop everything in the comments.